5 years married, and I still believed I had the life other men envied. That's what I told myself every morning I watched Elena get ready for work, humming to herself in front of the mirror. Beautiful. Successful. Mine. You're staring again, she said, catching my eyes in the reflection. Can't help it. You're my wife. She smiled. That smile everyone loved. The one that made strangers trust her instantly. Flattery won't get you out of doing the dishes. I laughed. This was normal. This was us. But if I'm honest, normal had started to feel like a performance I wasn't sure Elena knew she was giving. Take 3 nights ago. I came home late from work, and she was on the phone in the bathroom, voice low, door locked. I have to go, she said quickly when I knocked. Daniel's home. Who was that? I asked when she came out. Work stuff. Boring. She kissed my cheek and walked past me like the conversation was already over. I let it go. I always let it go. Ryan didn't, though. We met for dinner that Friday, just the two of us, like always. You look tired, he said, studying me over his burger. Been a long week. Is it work? Or is it Elena? I set down my fork. Why would you say that? Because every time I ask how things are at home, you change the subject. He leaned forward. Dan, I'm your best friend. I'm allowed to ask. Things are fine, Ryan. Fine like good? Or fine like you're convincing yourself? I forced a laugh. You've been reading too many self-help books. I'm serious. She snapped at you at Tom's barbecue last month. In front of everyone. Over nothing. She was stressed. Her mom was being difficult that day. And the mood swings? The random days she won't answer her phone. Everyone has bad days. Ryan studied me for a long moment like he wanted to say more but decided against it. Just promise me you're paying attention. I'm always paying attention. That wasn't entirely true. I paid attention to the parts one wanted to see. Like the way Elena's face changed whenever I brought up kids. We talked about waiting until I made partner, she said the last time I mentioned it, her tone suddenly sharp. Why are we doing this again? I just thought. You thought wrong. She caught herself, softened. Sorry. I didn't mean to snap. I'm just tired of the pressure. There's no pressure, Elle. I just want a family with you someday. Someday? She repeated. Like the word tasted bad in her mouth. I told myself it was normal to disagree about timing. Every couple did. My sister Sophie wasn't as forgiving. She does this thing, Sophie said one afternoon, stirring her coffee slower than necessary, like she was choosing her words carefully. This smile. It's like watching someone put on a mask. That's a weird thing to say about your sister-in-law. I'm serious, Dan. Watch her next time you two are in a room full of people. It's like she's performing happiness instead of feeling it. She's just private. Not everyone wears their heart on their sleeve like you do. Sophie shrugged, unconvinced. I just want you to be careful. Careful of what? My own wife. She didn't answer that. She didn't have to. I brushed it all off. Ryan's worry, Sophie's comment, the locked bathroom door, the sharp edges in Elena's voice whenever the future came up. Marriages had rough patches. Ours would smooth out. It always had before. Our 5th anniversary was coming up, and I decided I was going to prove it, to Ryan, to Sophie, and mostly to myself, that what we had was real. No restaurant reservations, no crowded tables. Just the two of us at home, the way it used to be when we first fell in love. I want to cook for you Friday, I told Elena that night. Just us. Candles, wine, the whole thing. Her smile returned, warm and easy. That sounds perfect. It will be, I said. I meant it with everything in me. I had no idea it would be the last night I ever trusted her. I lit the last candle just as Elena walked in wearing the blue dress I bought her our 2nd anniversary. You remembered, she said, smiling. Of course I remembered. She wrapped her arms around my neck. 5 years. Feels like yesterday. Feels like forever. In the best way. We sat down to the meal I'd spent the afternoon making, her favorite garlic butter salmon, the recipe from our honeymoon in Italy. She took a bite and closed her eyes. This is incredible, Daniel. I had a good teacher. You actually. She laughed. And for a moment, Every doubt Ryan and Sophie had planted in me felt ridiculous. This was real. This was us. "I got something special for tonight," she said, standing and walking to the cabinet. She pulled out a bottle of red wine I didn't recognize. "A friend from work recommended it. Said it's from a small vineyard, hard to find." "Since when do you know wine, people?" "Since I started caring about making tonight perfect." She poured 2 glasses, handing me mine first. "To 5 years. To 5 years," I echoed, clinking my glass against hers. "And to many more." Something flickered across her face. There and gone so fast I almost missed it. "Many more," she repeated softly. I drank. It tasted heavier than I expected, almost bitter under the sweetness, but I didn't think much of it. Elena watched me over the rim of her own glass, barely sipping hers. "You're not drinking?" "Small sips. I want it to last." She reached across the table and took my hand. "I mean it, Daniel. Thank you for tonight. For everything." "You don't have to thank me. I love you." "I know," she said. "I know you do." There was something strange in the way she said it. Not warm, not cold, just heavy. Like the words carried more weight than the sentence should. I didn't have time to ask what she meant. The room tilted. "Whoa!" I put a hand on the table to steady myself. I think I stood up too fast. "You're still sitting, Daniel." Her voice sounded far away, like it was coming through water. My fingers went numb first, then my lips, a strange tingling that spread up my arms. "Something's wrong," I managed. Something's wrong with me." "Daniel." Her voice sharpened. "Daniel, look at me." I tried. Her face was doubling, splitting into 2 blurred versions of itself, sliding apart and back together. My chest tightened like someone was sitting on it. I couldn't get a full breath in. I can't breathe right." "Daniel, stay with me. Stay with me. Okay?" I slid off the chair. I don't remember deciding to fall, just the sudden closeness of the floor, the cold hardwood against my cheek. Elena's face appeared above me, upside down from where I lay. "Elena," I gasped. "Call someone, please." For 1 second, one single endless second, her expression wasn't panic at all. It was still, calm, watching, like she was waiting to see what would happen next. "Elena." My voice came out as barely a whisper now. "Help me." The stillness broke. Her mouth opened, and I think she screamed my name. But by then the room had gone dark at the edges, closing in like a tunnel collapsing behind my eyes. I felt her hands on my face, heard fragments of words. "Ambulance, hurry, please," but they came apart before I could hold on to them. The last thing I saw was candlelight, flickering gold across the ceiling. Then nothing, just white. A steady beeping pulled me out of the dark, slow and rhythmic, like a clock counting down instead of up. My eyelids felt sealed shut with lead. When I finally forced them open, the light above me was too bright, too clinical, nothing like candlelight. White ceiling, white walls, a tube taped to the back of my hand. I turned my head, and pain shot through my skull. Where? My throat was raw, my voice a stranger's rasp. "Where am I?" A nurse's face appeared, calm but urgent, already reaching for something on the wall. "Mr. Carter, you're in the hospital. You're safe. Try not to move." Hospital. I had no memory of how I got there. Only fragments. Candlelight, Elena's face, a stillness in her eyes I couldn't explain. "My wife," I croaked. "Where's my wife?" The nurse's expression flickered, just for a second, in a way I didn't like at all. I lit the last candle just as Elena walked in wearing the blue dress I bought her our 2nd anniversary. "You remembered," she said, smiling. Of course I remembered. She wrapped her arms around my neck. 5 years. Feels like yesterday. Feels like forever. In the best way. We sat down to the meal I'd spent the afternoon making, her favorite garlic butter salmon, the recipe from our honeymoon in Italy. She took a bite and closed her eyes. "This is incredible, Daniel. I had a good teacher. You actually." She laughed, and for a moment, every doubt Ryan and Sophie had planted in me felt ridiculous. This was real. This was us. I got something special for tonight, she said, standing and walking to the cabinet. She pulled out a bottle of red wine I didn't recognize. A friend from work recommended it. Said it's from a small vineyard, hard to find. Since when do you know wine, people? Since I started caring about making tonight perfect. She poured 2 glasses, handing me mine first. To 5 years. To 5 years, I echoed, clinking my glass against hers. And to many more. Something flickered across her face. There and gone so fast I almost missed it. Many more, she repeated softly. I drank. It tasted heavier than I expected, almost bitter under the sweetness, but I didn't think much of it. Elena watched me over the rim of her own glass, barely sipping hers. You're not drinking? Small sips. I want it to last. She reached across the table and took my hand. I mean it, Daniel. Thank you for tonight. For everything. You don't have to thank me. I love you. I know, she said. I know you do. There was something strange in the way she said it. Not warm, not cold, just heavy. Like the words carried more weight than the sentence should. I didn't have time to ask what she meant. The room tilted. Whoa! I put a hand on the table to steady myself. I think I stood up too fast. You're still sitting, Daniel. Her voice sounded far away, like it was coming through water. My fingers went numb first, then my lips. A strange tingling that spread up my arms. Something's wrong, I managed. Something's wrong with me. Daniel. Her voice sharpened. Daniel, look at me. I tried. Her face was doubling, splitting into 2 blurred versions of itself, sliding apart and back together. My chest tightened like someone was sitting on it. I couldn't get a full breath in. I can't breathe right. Daniel, stay with me. Stay with me. Okay? I slid off the chair. I don't remember deciding to fall, just the sudden closeness of the floor, the cold hardwood against my cheek. Elena's face appeared above me, upside down from where I lay. Elena, I gasped. Call someone, please. For 1 second, one single endless second, her expression wasn't panic at all. It was still, calm, watching, like she was waiting to see what would happen next. Elena. My voice came out as barely a whisper now. Help me. The stillness broke. Her mouth opened, and I think she screamed my name. But by then the room had gone dark at the edges, closing in like a tunnel collapsing behind my eyes. I felt her hands on my face, heard fragments of words. Ambulance, hurry, please. But they came apart before I could hold on to them. The last thing I saw was candlelight, flickering gold across the ceiling. Then nothing, just white. A steady beeping pulled me out of the dark, slow and rhythmic, like a clock counting down instead of up. My eyelids felt sealed shut with lead. When I finally forced them open, the light above me was too bright, too clinical, nothing like candlelight. White ceiling, white walls, a tube taped to the back of my hand. I turned my head, and pain shot through my skull. Where? My throat was raw, my voice a stranger's rasp. Where am I? A nurse's face appeared, calm but urgent, already reaching for something on the wall. Mr. Carter, you're in the hospital. You're safe. Try not to move. Hospital. I had no memory of how I got there. Only fragments. Candlelight, Elena's face. A stillness in her eyes I couldn't explain. My wife, I croaked. Where's my wife? The nurse's expression flickered, just for a second, in a way I didn't like at all. Home didn't feel like home anymore. I stood in the kitchen where I'd almost died, staring at the spot on the floor where I'd collapsed, and Elena's hand on my back made me flinch before I could stop it. You okay? She asked. Fine. Just tired. She kissed my cheek and went to unpack the groceries, humming like nothing had happened. I watched her back and wondered when I'd started noticing how easily she could switch from one version of herself to another. Ryan called that night while Elena was in the shower. How are you holding up? He asked. Honestly, I don't know. Something feels off, Ryan, and I can't explain it. Then let's explain it. What did Elena tell you about the wine? That a coworker gave her 2 bottles and she grabbed the wrong one. Which coworker? I opened my mouth, then stopped. I don't actually know. Ask her. And ask when she supposedly got this bottle, because Sophie mentioned something that doesn't add up. What does that mean? Sophie saw a wine delivery receipt in your recycling last week. From an online shop, not a coworker. Paid with your joint card. My chest tightened. Elena hates online wine shopping. She always makes fun of me for doing it. Exactly, Ryan said. So either she's lying about the coworker, or she's lying about hating online orders. Either way, something doesn't match. Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe. So ask her. Quietly. Don't accuse, just ask. After I hung up, I found the receipt myself, buried at the bottom of the recycling bin. A wine shop I'd never heard of. Ordered 9 days before our anniversary. 1 bottle, red, imported. Elena came out of the shower in her robe, toweling her hair. Hey, I said, keeping my voice light. Random question. Do you remember the name of the coworker who gave you that wine bottle? She paused for half a second too long. Why? Just curious. I want to thank her, I guess. Or never see her again, depending on how you look at it. I tried to smile. It was someone from the Hendricks account. I don't really know her outside of work. You don't know her name? Daniel, why does this matter right now? Her voice sharpened, then caught itself, softening fast. Sorry, I'm still shaken up about all this. Why are you asking? I held up the receipt. Because I found this. Her eyes dropped to it, then came back up, and for a moment nothing moved in her face at all. That's not what it looks like. What does it look like, Elle? I ordered a bottle for us separately as a backup gift. I forgot I even had it until this happened. I panicked when the police started asking questions, and I didn't want to complicate things. So I said the coworker story instead. Tears welled up fast, too fast. I'm sorry. I should have told the truth from the start. I wasn't thinking straight. You lied to the detective. I was scared, Daniel. She stepped closer, taking my hands. I almost lost you. I wasn't thinking about anything except how terrified I was. Please don't look at me like that. Her eyes were wet, her grip on my hands tight and warm, and every instinct I had wanted to pull her in and tell her it was fine. Okay. I heard myself say, okay, it's okay. She hugged me, and over her shoulder I stared at the closet door, standing open a crack from when she'd grabbed her robe. Something caught the light on the top shelf, tucked behind a stack of sweaters. A phone. Not the one she carried every day. I knew that one by the cracked corner on the case. This one was plain, black, unfamiliar. I'm going to go lie down, Elena said, pulling back, wiping her eyes. Today's been a lot. Yeah, go ahead. She left the room, and I stood there, staring at the closet, my heart pounding harder than it had since the night I collapsed on our kitchen floor. I told myself there could be an explanation. A work phone. A gift she hadn't opened yet. Anything. But my feet were already moving toward the closet before I finished the thought, and my hand was already reaching for the shelf, and some part of me already knew, standing there with that phone in my palm, that I was about to learn something I couldn't unlearn. The phone unlocked on the first guess, our anniversary date, the same code she used for everything. I almost laughed at that, bitter and hollow, standing alone in our bedroom with her secrets in my hand. The messages went back 14 months. Marcus. Can't stop thinking about last night. Asterisk Elena. Me neither. He suspects nothing. Asterisk. Marcus. When can I see you again? Asterisk Elena. Thursday. Same hotel. Asterisk. I scrolled until my thumb went numb. Message after message. Plans and photos and words I never thought I'd read about my own wife. Dinners I remembered her missing for work trips. Weekends she'd spent visiting her mother, according to her. According to the phone, she'd spent them with a man named Marcus Reed. My hands were shaking by the time I set the phone down. I drove to Sophie's that night without calling first. She opened the door and took one look at my face before pulling me inside. Dan, what happened? I held up the phone, screen still open to the messages. Her name for me isn't even Daniel in his contacts. It's an emoji. A little house. Like I'm just a place she visits sometimes. Sophie's face crumpled, and not with surprise. That was the part that broke something in me. You knew, I said. I suspected. I didn't know. There's a difference. How long? Months? She admitted, guilt thick in her voice. The way she'd disappear at family things to take calls. The way she looked at her phone like it was more important than the room she was standing in. I didn't have proof, Dan. I didn't want to blow up your marriage over a feeling. You should have told me. I know. Her eyes filled. I'm sorry. I kept telling myself I was wrong. That I was being paranoid. Because the alternative was watching you go through exactly this. I sat down hard on her couch. The phone still gripped in my hand like it might disappear if I let go. 14 months, Sophie. She's been sleeping with someone for over a year. I'm so sorry. And 2 weeks ago she poured me a glass of wine that nearly killed me. Sophie went very still. You think it's connected? I don't know what to think anymore. I found Marcus Reed's office address in one of the messages, a real estate firm downtown. I told myself I just wanted to see his face, understand what Elena saw in him that she didn't see in me. I called ahead using a fake name, told his assistant I was interested in a commercial property listing. He came out to meet me in the lobby, tall, expensive suit, the kind of easy confidence that probably worked on everyone. Mr. Hughes? He said, extending a hand. Actually, it's Carter. Daniel Carter. His face went white. Elena's husband. You know my name. Good. Saves us both time. Look. Whatever you think is happening. I read the messages, Marcus. 14 months. Hotels. Weekends. I know exactly what's happening. He glanced around the lobby, lowering his voice. This isn't the place. Then let's talk somewhere else, because I'm not leaving until I understand what my wife has been doing with you. He led me to an empty conference room, closing the door like the walls might carry the conversation outside. I never wanted this to blow up like this, he said. Elena told me she was going to leave you, eventually, when the timing was right. The timing was right 2 weeks ago, when she poured me a glass of poisoned wine. His face drained of what little color it had left. Poisoned? What are you talking about? You didn't know. No. God, no. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. She told me things were bad between you two, that she was planning her exit, but she never said anything about. He stopped himself. Finish the sentence, Marcus. She kept saying she wanted to be free of her marriage. Not divorced. Free. I thought she meant emotionally. I swear I thought that's all she meant. And now, he wouldn't meet my eyes. Now I don't know what she meant at all. Neither did I. But standing in that room, watching the man my wife had chosen over me go pale with his own fear, I understood one thing clearly. Whatever Elena wanted, an affair was never going to be enough to get it. Tom Reyes had been our family lawyer since before I could remember, and the worry on his face when I sat down across from him told me he already sensed this wasn't a routine visit. I need you to look into something, I said, quietly, just between us. Talk to me, Daniel. Elena's affair, the poisoning. I think there's something bigger going on, and I don't know how to find it myself. Tom leaned back. What kind of bigger? Marcus said Elena wanted to be free of the marriage, not divorced. Free. I need to know if there's a financial reason for that word. Tom pulled up something on his laptop, fingers moving fast. Give me a day. I have access to your joint accounts as your attorney of record. Let's see what she's been doing. He called me back the next evening, and his voice had lost its usual calm. Daniel, sit down. I'm sitting. 4 months ago, Elena took out a life insurance policy on you. $2 million. The words landed like a second dose of poison. I never signed anything. She used a joint account authorization and a forged signature. It's not hard to do when you've been married 5 years and share everything. $2 million. That's not all. Your joint savings, the one you thought had close to $300,000 in it, is down to $11,000. That's not possible. We haven't spent that kind of money. You haven't. She has. Wire transfers, going back over a year. All funneling into something called Lang Ventures. Victor Lang, I said. Her business partner. You know him? Barely. She always said he handled the investment side of her consulting work. Well, whatever he's been investing in, it's failing fast. I pulled public filings. Lang Ventures is bleeding money, and your wife has been feeding it for over a year. I found Victor Lang at a coffee shop near his office, recognizing him from a photo on Elena's old work website. He didn't recognize me at first. Victor Lang. That's me. Can I help you? I'm Daniel Carter, Elena's husband. His coffee cup froze halfway to his mouth. Daniel, right? Of course. You look nervous, Victor. I'm not nervous, This is unexpected. Sit down. We need to talk about Lang Ventures. He sat, slow and reluctant, like a man walking toward something he already knew was coming. Whatever Elena told you about our business? She hasn't told me anything. That's the problem. I found out on my own. $300,000, Victor. Where did it go? The investment didn't perform the way we projected. Markets shifted. We're trying to recover the position. But I don't care about your excuses. I want to know why my wife emptied our savings into a failing venture without telling me, and why she took out a $2 million policy on my life 4 months ago. Victor's face went gray. I didn't know about the insurance policy. But you knew about the money. He was quiet for a long moment, hands wrapped tight around his cup. She was desperate, Daniel. The investment kept sinking, and she kept doubling down trying to fix it before anyone noticed, before you noticed. She was terrified of losing everything. So she decided to kill me instead. She never said that directly. What did she say, Victor? His eyes finally met mine, and whatever composure he'd been holding on to broke apart completely. She said if something happened to you, the insurance money would cover the losses and give her a way out. She said it more than once. I told myself she was just venting, blowing off steam. I didn't think she'd actually. He stopped himself, but it was too late. The sentence hung between us, finished whether he said the rest or not. I sat there in that coffee shop, surrounded by people ordering lattes and checking their phones, and felt the last piece of the illusion collapse completely. This was never about heartbreak or falling out of love or even Marcus. This was arithmetic. My death weighed against her debts, and somewhere along the way, I had become the easier problem to solve. Detective Whitfield met me at the station an hour later, and I laid everything out on the table between us. The receipt, the phone, Tom's financial records, screenshots of every message I could pull before Elena thought to delete them. This is thorough, Whitfield said, flipping through the pages. You did our job for us. I needed to know for certain before I said anything. Well, now we have motive, opportunity, and a financial trail. That's more than enough to move on her. He looked up at me. You understand once we act, there's no undoing this. I understand. Then let's bring her in. By the time officers reached the house, Elena was gone. Her closet stood half-emptied, drawers pulled open, the second phone missing from where it had been hidden. She's running, Whitfield said, already dialing. Where would she go? I thought of Marcus, of hotel rooms and stolen weekends, of a man who'd gone pale the moment I said the word poison. Marcus Reed. Try him first. They caught up with Marcus at his office, and according to Whitfield, he didn't need much convincing. She called me an hour ago, Marcus told the detective, panic audible even secondhand through Whitfield's retelling. Said we needed to leave tonight, that everything had fallen apart and we had to go somewhere they couldn't extradite us. And you agreed? I told her I couldn't. I have a business, a name, a life here. I never signed up for fleeing the country. I signed up for... He stopped himself. It doesn't matter what I signed up for. I'm not going to prison for her. Marcus gave up her flight information without hesitation. An evening departure, 1 ticket, a fake name booked through a travel agent Elena had used for their old hotel arrangements. Victor Lang cooperated just as fast when Whitfield's team came for him. I'll testify, Victor said, according to the detective. Everything. The transfers, what she said about Daniel, all of it. I'm not losing my license and my freedom protecting a woman who was willing to poison her own husband. Diane, Elena's mother, was the hardest phone call of all. Whitfield let me sit in when they questioned her, since I'd known Diane for 5 years and she trusted me enough to talk. "There's been a mistake," Diane said, gripping her purse like a shield. "My daughter would never." "Mrs. Foster," Whitfield said gently, "we have financial records, witness testimony, and physical evidence. This isn't a mistake." Diane's eyes found mine, desperate. "Daniel, tell them. Tell them Elena loves you. She told me herself she doesn't, Diane. She told me the marriage was suffocating her and the insurance money was her way out." Diane's face crumpled, decades of excuses collapsing all at once. "I always gave her whatever she wanted. I never let her sit with disappointment, not once, not since she was a little girl. I thought I was protecting her." Her voice broke. "I think I just taught her that nothing was ever her fault." They caught Elena at the airport 2 hours before her flight, standing at the gate in sunglasses and a scarf like a disguise from a movie, Marcus nowhere beside her. I wasn't there for the arrest itself, but Whitfield called me afterward, and Sophie showed me the footage the news picked up before I could ask him not to. Elena, composure finally gone, screaming at the officers as they cuffed her. "This is insane. I haven't done anything." Her voice, even through a cracked phone speaker, sounded like someone I used to love and someone I'd never truly known, both at once. Daniel, tell them this is a misunderstanding." I watched the video once, standing alone in my kitchen, in the exact spot where I'd collapsed weeks earlier. I thought I'd feel triumph. Instead I felt hollow, grief tangled up with relief in a way that made no sense and made complete sense at the same time. I had loved this woman for 5 years. I had built a life around her smile, her laugh, the version of her I'd chosen to see even when smaller versions of the truth kept scratching at the surface. Watching her taken away in handcuffs didn't feel like winning. It just felt like finally waking up from something I should have seen much sooner. The trial lasted 6 weeks. I sat through most of it, listening to Victor's testimony, watching Marcus refuse to look at Elena from the witness stand, hearing Tom's financial records read aloud to a jury that grew visibly colder toward her with every session. "The prosecution has demonstrated clear premeditation," the district attorney said in closing arguments. "This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was a plan, built over months, executed with intent." The jury took less than a day. "Guilty," the foreperson said, "on all counts." Elena didn't look at me when the verdict came down. She stared straight ahead, jaw tight, like she was still calculating an angle I couldn't see. The judge sentenced her to 18 years for attempted murder, fraud, and forgery. 18 years, for a wine bottle and a signature I never signed. I visited her once, before the transfer to a permanent facility. I told myself I needed closure. Looking back, I think I just needed to see her say something true, one last time. "You came," she said, sitting across from me in a plastic chair bolted to the floor. "I wanted to hear it from you. Any of it. The truth, this time without an angle." She studied me for a long moment. "I'm sorry, Daniel." "Sorry for what, specifically?" "For all of it. For letting it get this far." "Getting it this far or getting caught?" Her silence answered before she did. "Does it matter which one?" "It matters to me." "I'm sorry I hurt you," she said finally, but her eyes stayed dry, her voice flat, more obligation than feeling. "I never wanted you dead. I wanted an easier version of my life, and you were in the way of that." "An easier version of your life," I repeated. "That's what I was to you. An obstacle. You wanted so badly to believe I was happy. I let you believe it because it was easier than the truth. You almost killed me, Elena." "I know." Her jaw tightened. "And now I'll spend 18 years knowing it. Is that the apology you wanted?" I sat there, waiting to feel something shift, some door closing inside me the way I'd imagined it would. Nothing shifted. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done. She was sorry it had cost her everything. "Goodbye, Elena," I said, and I meant it as more than words for that visit. I didn't need her apology to move forward. I understood that walking out of that room, into daylight that felt sharper and clearer than it had in months. Sophie hugged me the second I got to her place that evening. "How was it?" Honest, finally. Just not in the way I hoped. You didn't need her honesty, Dan. You already had the truth. You've had it for weeks. Ryan showed up an hour later with takeout and 2 beers, dropping onto the couch beside me like the last several months hadn't happened at all. So, closure. Something like it. You did the right thing going to the police. I know it cost you. It cost me a version of my life I thought I wanted. I said. Turns out I didn't actually want it. I just didn't know what else to want instead. Claire had been quiet through all of it, texting occasional check-ins, dropping off soup when I was too tired to cook, never pushing for more than I could give. A few weeks after the trial ended, she invited me for coffee, nothing formal, nothing that demanded a label. You don't have to talk about any of it, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. I just wanted to see how you're doing. The real answer, not the one you give everyone else. Honestly, better than I expected. Still finding my footing. That's allowed. There's no schedule for this. Thank you, I said, for not disappearing when things got complicated. I wasn't going anywhere, she said simply, and something in the way she said it settled easier in my chest than anything Elena had told me in that visiting room. Looking back now, months removed from candlelight and poisoned wine, I understand something I couldn't have understood before. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your judgment, makes you doubt every instinct that once felt solid. But it also teaches you, if you let it, to listen the next time something feels wrong instead of talking yourself out of it. I lost a marriage I thought was solid ground. I found out, slowly, that solid ground was something I could build again, with people who never needed a mask to love me honestly. That was worth more than anything Elena ever pretended to give me.